Hey everyone, it's Ria. Thanks for coming back to my channel. This is going to be a quick video. It's really more of an add-on to the Quartz Clutch pattern, a tutorial that I put out on Friday, sure, late Thursday. So again, Quartz Clutch by SoFlo Patterns. It's a really fun, fast make because you only need a few pieces of material, very minimal hardware, comes together so quickly. As soon as I posted that video, I realized this is the perfect bag, pouch, whatever you want to call it, for a shaker panel right here. You don't really have to make any special adjustments. I mean, I thought about it. I'm going to be doing one little adjustment to how you construct this, very minimal, but it's nothing where you have to cut a different piece that's a special size and take into account seam allowances and all of that. You really don't have to do any of that with this. It really is cutting out a second piece of clear, the same size as the panel here. So this main front panel, I believe this is called the top, the bottom, and the back. So it's this part that in the pattern which tells you to use clear. You need to cut out two. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be using this pretty clear with some stars on it. Clear vinyl, obviously. And then I just have a piece of actual clear vinyl that I'm putting behind it because it doesn't matter. You don't need it twice. You could certainly put it there twice. So just think about, if you do take a look and see, the patterns overlapping might not look great. So I would recommend putting something clear behind it. If you wanted to make it so you can't see inside the pouch, you could put another piece of jelly. So that's another option as well, but I'm going to go clear. So I cut that out. I'm going to start putting this together the way you normally would. I'm going to, actually, no, I'm taking it back. So I had to, again, I'm sort of doing this on the fly. I'm going to sew the side seams together 1/8 of an inch wider than what we're going to do for the final construction. The reason for that, let me pull this one out again. When I make a shaker bag, I hate it when the glitter or the shaker items get really rammed up into the side seam here. And that's what will happen. And it's not terrible, but you can see it sort of wraps around a little bit to the side. If I put another stitch line just a little to the edge of that, it's going to just keep it from going quite so far over. It'll sort of end here instead of all the way there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sew down the edges of both of these. As I said, 1/8 of an inch wider than what we're going to be using per the seam allowance in the pattern on both sides. And then we're going to start the construction. So we'll start this right now. I am going to use, and it's the other thing to think about when you're doing something with glitter. If you're just using shaker pieces, you know, I've got these stars here. If you're just using something that is large enough, you could probably still use a 4 or 4.5, 5 for some of this. But when you're getting into smaller things like glitter, you just need to consider your stitch length. You don't want it so wide that it's going to go through. You don't want it so narrow that you're going to perforate it. So I'm going to do this more at a 4 right now for this, and it's a decorative stitch. You're going to see it, so keep that in mind. But I'm going to do that. I'll probably do more like a 4.5 for the rest of the construction, but we're just going to get started right here. Okay, so I've got those sewn. What I'm going to do now is start to construct it the way we normally would. So I've got my top piece here. I'm not going to go through the whole bag, but I'll start with that. The difference will be as I sew this together, before I sew the, there we go, the back piece to the bottom, that will be when we put in our glitter. So I'm going to do everything up to that final sew right here. And so we'll be right back. Okay, so we've got this all sewn together. You can see I've got the front done here, the top panel. Got my back on as well. One thing to keep in mind, if you're using directional print here, remember this is going to wrap around. So you want your directional print, if it's important, at the bottom here to match the direction at the whatever you have here. So before we sew everything together, because I'm going to have to do it this way. Oh, and I did put a tag on. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. Before we put everything together, we're going to put our glitter in. Our glitter and our shaker panels. So recall we sewed together the sides. I have first these stars I'm going to put in. These may look plain and boring, but they glow. And I mean, yeah. So we're going to put those in. I will link, once I get this open, in the description where I got my materials here. So the jelly vinyl you can no longer get, unfortunately, but the clear, I'm not sure. I think they still have some of the stars. It's from Warmy now. Otherwise, there's lots of clear vinyl out there you can get. So I think that'll be plenty. I'm not going to do any more than that. So I'm trying to be very careful with this and have it stay at this edge here. I don't want it coming up. And I now have various colors I'm going to put in. And the fun part about these is they also glow. So let's start putting these in. Okay. I don't want to go crazy with the amount in there. I have made some where I've just put way too much in. I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna hope this is enough. It probably is. I mean, we also have the stars on the clear, so you're gonna see that as well. So now I'm going to, per the pattern, sew these two pieces together. So I've got them right sides together. Let me clip this across. So now we need to top stitch. Now if you're watching the previous video, what we need to do is open this up and top stitch it sort of through a tube. Let me put this open here. So top stitch it this way. It's a little thicker now because I have two layers of the clear vinyl, but I am going to still see if I can put a piece of double-sided tape here. Double-sided tape doesn't like jelly very often, but we're going to try it to get it to hold down. Now my machine can sew through that. I will still probably wipe it off with an alcohol wipe to get off any glue that's there, or the glue from the tape. But I just think that's going to help, given how much vinyl is here. It might help to hold it down. So we'll be right back and we will do that. The double-sided tape did stick, because remember when we top stitched this, we wanted it all go down towards the jelly, or in this case it would have been up towards the jelly here, down here. And so that's going to help a lot, just because I've got a lot going on there. I want to try to hold it down as much as I can. Now you'll notice I did 2 rows of stitches here. Not because I meant to, but I started one and it was a little higher than I liked. I'm like, I needed to ensure I really caught everything on the back. So I did a second. So now it's a decorative element, but I need to do the same decorative element on the bottom. So I'm going to do 2 rows, 1 at 1/8 and 1 at 1/4. Well, you can sort of see from this side. Look at that. Yeah, I think it's a good amount. And yeah, that looks good. So now we sew together. So kind of bring it back up. I'm going to clip my sides. I'm going to bring my stitch length back down. And so let's get this bag done and we can see how it looks shaken. Whew, that took some turning. There's a lot going down here because I've got the 2 layers, but how cute is that? Look at that. So we've got our shaker. I'm glad I didn't put a lot in there because we have the stars that are already part of the clear vinyl, but they add a little something in there. We'll admit it's hard to see the color. I mean, I put a little bit of every color. It's okay. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think this is just a great way you can also jazz up your quartz clutch a little bit. So you can see we've got our stars on the back, and it glows. So I'll try to get a photo so you can see that. So yeah, hopefully you find this a nice, fun little addition to the quartz clutch. You can do it for each of the 3 sizes. Super fun. Imagine a little one with just with that small front panel and having it have a fun shaker. Super cute. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Well, since it's still daylight outside, there aren't a lot of places dark enough in my house to show this, so we're in a storage room. But you can see it. Here's the glow in the dark. The stars and the glitter, they all glow. Yay, fun. Thanks, everybody.